the, do I regret having smoked marijuana? I got this question the other day from somebody in the comments. Big shout out to you. And it was a great question, and it really made me think. The answer is no. I do not regret any of the times I smoked marijuana, at this point anyway. It's like a relationship, right? Like you break up with somebody, it really hurts in the beginning, but over time you look back and you're like, it was what it was, and I learned a ton from it. The reason I don't regret it is because of how much I've grown, and because of now being able to get to do this channel and speak with you guys on a regular basis on how to quit marijuana. That would not have happened if I wouldn't have smoked marijuana in the first place. So I also don't regret it because it really did change my perspective on things a lot, especially in those beginning days. Before I started smoking, I was pretty thick-headed. I was very judgmental and thought very low of people. I kind of categorized people in classes based on their appearance, maybe where they came from. Once I started smoking weed, my heart started to open a little bit, and so did my mind. I started not to judge people so much anymore on where they came from or their background or how they looked. And this really showed in college. A lot of people on my floor smoked, and not everyone was a great world-class athlete like I thought I was. And most people are just normal people. And I found that, wow, these people are great. They have a lot of depth. They're funny. They have great energy and spirit. And this is something I kind of missed when I was so focused on external stuff and being cool and all that stuff. So it really kind of shattered my ego in a good way. Also, I had some great times and made some great friends. Although I don't speak to them a lot anymore because a lot of our interactions and connection was based on marijuana, and very much so that's how it started. Now I do appreciate the times we've had together, and I've learned a lot from each and every one of them. I've learned what I like in relationships and friendships, and what I don't like too. So that's a very big lesson. They say a smart person learns from successes, a wise person learns from mistakes. So mistakes I've made in relationships are often the greatest teachers. Successes are great too, so don't discount those. And I had a lot of fun, I'm not gonna lie, especially when I was in college. We would go do some crazy stuff. We would be laughing all the time and having just a grand old time. Munchies, the giggles. I remember getting the munchies and the giggles. Those are some of the best times. I don't actually remember them very well because I was so high. I do remember like glimpses, and I can recall that it was funny and enjoyable. Of course, as we've talked about a lot on this channel, things didn't go so well afterwards, as most people it doesn't, because once the high starts to wear off and we get accustomed to it, all the demons come back, and by then the neurochemicals are kind of out of whack. And I don't regret the really dark times either. I would prefer them not to have happened in a sense, like because I did lose a lot of money. Like I would like that money back in a sense. However, if that wouldn't have happened, I would not have gotten clean and sober today. And I would not have kind of got my life together because I was not taking good care of myself. I was not living up to any sort of potential that I had. I thought I was, and I convinced myself I was, but I really wasn't. And if I wouldn't have had those very traumatic experiences regarding weed, I never would have kind of opened my eyes to the truth of myself and what was happening. So I am very grateful for that, and that's a huge blessing that no amount of money could buy. So you might be in a situation where you are regretting the weed you smoked and the time you spent smoking marijuana, and that's okay. Let yourself feel that regret. Regret is an emotion, and just like every emotion, it passes once felt fully. So especially if you're at the beginning stages, I think regret can be a great learning lesson because it really kind of creates that fight or flight and that almost really sombering reality state where it's like, okay, I can't keep doing this anymore. I'm seeing the consequences of my life. And what regret also does is it teaches, okay, this is not what I want for my life. If what I did produced results that I was favorable of, I would not be feeling regret, obviously. So it can be a great indicator. And from what I've learned, besides feeling it, the only way to kind of overcome regret is to learn from the mistakes and not make them again, and get experiences and wins where you get to do what you did in the past that was regretful differently, and with that new awareness and that new insight. So the biggest mistake you can make is not learning from the regret and keep doing the behavior. In recovery, they say insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting different results. And hey, I'm no perfect saint on this too. There's been a lot of things I've done where I know the consequence in the back of my head. I've seen it before play out so many times, and yet I keep doing it because I'm like, okay, this time's gonna be different. Lo and behold, this time isn't different. I feel the exact same pain that I did last time I did the behavior or substance. So it's a great learning lesson. And if you can use it to your advantage, if you're feeling it right now, it's gonna really propel your recovery. And it might be that kick in the butt that you need to finally change your life and do the things that in your heart you know you would like to be doing. I do believe in coming at things from a very compassionate approach. Sometimes though, you need a little a kick in the butt, especially if discipline's been very low. It's like, all right, guys, like, how much more can you put up with this? Seriously, like, you're just wasting your life at this point. That's a harsh truth to face. However, it's very true. So here's Uncle Joel giving you a nice big hug of compassion and a punch in the gut. So use those together and you're going to be unstoppable. With that, guys, if you need a little more punch in the gut and accountability, hit me up for one-on-one coaching. For 20 bucks, you can schedule a 45-minute call with me, and I'm going to help you quit marijuana as fast and as efficiently as possible so you don't relapse and you start living that new life as quickly as possible. I know you can do it. I've done it. I've seen other people do it. And you know, the one thing I learned from regret is that, you know, time's gonna happen, and do I want to be looking back at my life with regret? One of the biggest things I've learned from recovery and from regret is that I can avoid feeling regret by doing the things to change my circumstances now, even if it costs a little bit or it's a bit of an investment. Some of the greatest changes in my life have come from getting a coach and beginning the inner work or a sponsor and starting to work on myself. And it was scary at the beginning, and I'm like, is this worth it? And you don't have to live with regret anymore if you don't want to. So with that, guys, subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned for more recovery and addiction related content, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.